Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and I have a really cute card for you today. But before we go there, there's so much going on with Stampin' Up. I want to show you, I'm going to talk to you about the specials and stuff with Stampin' Up just really quick so I feel that you're in the loop. I'd hate for you later to tell me I didn't know that, so I'm going to really quick go over what's going on with Stampin' Up. So July and August are Stampin' Up! Celebration months. And what that means in this brochure, there's a bunch of free stuff. It's like rewards for ordering. So if your order reaches $50 or $100, there's stuff in this brochure that you can get for free. Now I want to warn you, there's a couple things in here, I thought I'd flip right to them, that have sold out. So celebration items are while supplies last. If there's something you want in the brochure, be sure and order now so it doesn't, they don't run out. The main thing in here I wanted to show you was the join special. So when you buy, or through August, when you buy the starter kit, which is $125 worth of product, that's $99 plus free shipping. Well, you have to pay tax, but free shipping. Any product of your choice, like I said, $125 for $99 plus tax. They'll Stampin' Up! A throw in with your starter kit, a planner. And look how pretty the planner is. It's got this nice case here, and then it's got the stickers that coordinate with it. Look how fun to use the stickers. And then it has all the months and dates and planners and everything that you could need. I was going to try to show you August. There we go. Looky there. How pretty it is, and has a little divider here, and it has even all of these extra pieces. I barely put in maybe half of what comes with all the planner. So it looks like this. Oh, and if you notice here, look, on the 23rd, I celebrate 17 years with Stampin' Up. But anyway, love the company, love the product. Let's go on. So that's what the planner looks like. It also, with the planner, comes some notebooks. Look how pretty those are. And then the last thing with the planner in the starter kit is a stamp set, making plans. Look at that. And this stamp set even includes the copyright Stampin' Up! Stamp, which if you sell cards that are made with Stampin' Up! Products, you should stamp that back on the back of your card. So that's just another perk of that stamp set, that it has the copyright stamp on there. So with some of the stuff selling out from with Celebration, Stampin' Up! Brought in another products that you can get for free when you place your orders, and they're from the annual catalog. So all of this stuff is on my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. If I didn't explain it right, you can go there. Hopefully it answers some of your questions, or you can always reach out to me and I'll answer them too. But that's going on with Celebration through the end of August, so you don't want to miss out on that. Okay, and then Paper Pumpkin. August Paper Pumpkin is going to be absolutely beautiful. I've seen some sneak peeks and ideas, and it's really a pretty kit. So that you have to sign up for Paper Pumpkin by August 10th. Then Paper Pumpkin kit, not only do you get the kit that makes the cards, there's actually 2 ink spots in there, and I can't remember what colors they are, but there'll be some 2-step stamping. And then they're going to throw in 8 of these honeycomb sheets, these gold sheets here, that you can either step up your cards from the Paper Pumpkin kit, or you can use them on another project. But that's Paper Pumpkin. Remember, that has to be done before August 10th to get August kit. Okay, and then for future stuff happening, in September, Stampin' Up! Has brought in dies that coordinate with some of the stamp sets that are already in the annual catalog. So there's 6 of them, and we'll come back in September and check those out. But just to give you a heads up that that's what's going to happen. All right, there, I tried to go through it as painfully as possible, all the stuff happened with Stampin' Up! And you can see more of that on my blog, becreativewithkathy.com, as well as today's card measurements and supply list from today's card. So let me show you today's card. Looks like this. And let me tell you how I came up with my card. I was flipping through the mini catalog. Do you do that? And you look through several times, and then all of a sudden you turn onto a page and you think, hey, look at that card. I don't remember seeing that card. I want to make that card. And that's what happened with me when I saw this card. Now, another perk to being a demonstrator, besides getting all that stuff in the starter kit, and being a family of Stampin' Up, because we are great people, Stampin' Up offers all of the sample recipes on the website now. So what I did was I went to the sample recipe and I looked up that card here on page 70, right? And it gives me everything that they used to make that card. So let's go ahead and grab some supplies and we'll get ready to make this pretty card. Okay, so I'm going to start first of all with my card base. Now when I get a pack of thick Whisper white paper, I usually take a few sheets and I just cut card bases. That way when it's ready to make a card, I've already got my card bases all cut and it's nice and simple. So this is, like I said, thick basic white cardstock. It's 8.5, nope, I'm sorry, yeah, 8.5 by 5.5, and then I've scored it here at 4 1/4, and that's going to be our card base. I'm going to go ahead and just fold now on that score line, grab my bone folder here. So there we have our card base, simple and easy, just like that. So the other thing it says in here that for the card base, we needed the Subtles 6x6 designer series paper. Well, I don't have the Subtles, I only have the new in colors, and I think that this bright Tahitian tide print right here looked really good, so we're going to just use that too. And now I'll have to cut that down in just a second and then we'll make it the right size. And then it talked about we'll need some basic white cardstock. Now I'm assuming that's the door. So I have a piece of basic white cardstock. So let's go ahead and cut down our basic white and our designer series paper for our card. I'm going to start with the designer series paper. And on the card, because it looked like there was a real, well, you have make room for your door, I'm going to make my designer series paper layer a little bit bigger than I normally would. Normally I would say it's 5 1/4 by 4, bada bing bada boom, but to make it a little bit bigger, I'm going to make it, let's see, 5 1/2 less than 1/8, so I'm going to make it 5 3/8. Let me make sure I'm in the right place here. 5, right, and 3/8. Cut that down by 4 1/8, and that's going to make it just a little bit bigger and a little bit border, or a little bit of a border on our card base. So there we go. Let's see if I cut it right. It's going to fit on there. Yep, just right, just like that. And like I said, if I say something wrong on my measurements, you could go to my blog, becreativewithkathy.com, and I guarantee the right measurements. Well, I shouldn't guarantee, but I'm hoping the right measurements will be there. Okay, so let's look now at our door here. The base of our door, I believe, is 3 inches by 5, but let's just double check. Yep, that's 3 inches there by 5. So we need a piece of basic white that's 3 inches by 5. I'm going to just go ahead and cut it here first at 3. And I do have the 11-inch side up here, but because I know this is 8 1/2, so there's plenty of room for my 5. I'm going to just cut it like that, and then cut it down to 3 inches here. Nope, to 5 inches. I already cut the 3. There we go. At 5. And now I have my base here of the door, okay? And now these 4 little panels on the front, I believe, are 1 inch, yes, by 2 1/8, which, yes, they are. So now we need 4 pieces. That's 1 inch by 2 1/8. So I'm going to take this 3-inch piece here and cut it down to 2 1/8. Well, first I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off 1 inch from here. Oh, I think I just messed up my paper. No, let's see, 2 1/8. That we'll make it work. I'm going to have to get another scrap. And then these need to be 1 inch. 1. 2. And we can cut this one down to 2 1/8, 2, and then let's see how big this one is. Yep, and we cut this one down to 2 1/8. There we go. And now we have our 4 pieces here for our door panels that are 1 inch by 2 1/8. So now we'll set these on our door here. So we're ready. And then the rest of this paper, in fact, I'm going to cut this down to probably about Well, let me find my dies here because I'm going to want to die cut some pieces. This is the die set we're going to use, and then let me show you the Cottage Wreath. This is a bundle in the catalog, and when I first bought it, I thought, I'll use that a little bit, and now I've come to use it quite a bit. But we're going to use this die here. I want to just make sure that my paper is big enough for my die, so I'm going to cut it about to 3 inches. We'll cut it down like that, and now we have a nice piece of cardstock for our die cut pieces, and this we'll just use for another project. Okay, I think we're done cutting stuff. Let's go ahead and start stamping. So we need to stamp the wreath here. Let's go back to our ingredients here, and it says our ink colors are going to be real red. I forgot the real red. So the real red here, and I'm assuming that that is for the greeting and the little cherries on the, or the berries on the wreath. So we have the real red, and then it also calls for pear pizzazz. So that's going to be our wreath, and crumb cake and mossy meadow. So I did a little bit of stamping. You can see here I used the pear pizzazz and the crumb cake, and I think that looks really good. But then I went ahead and did some more stamping in comparison, and I like the pear pizzazz with the soft suede. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in some soft suede here, and I'm going to do this card with the darker colors, and then you can decide if you like the lighter or if you like the darker. So let's go ahead and stamp those. I have my stamps here on blocks already, at least these two. Let me find that, I already lost my colors here. Pear pizzazz and soft suede. I am going to bring in my pierce mat from my Stamparatus, and then that way I have the small grid paper that fits fine on there. Whoop, where's my scrap of paper? Here it is. And let's ink up that pear pizzazz with the, let me show you which stamp I'm using in the stamp set. I'm going to use this stamp here for the stamp. Okay, ink that up good. And then watch when I stamp how this stamp I think is really pretty, because it gives you 2-tone leaves just with the one stamping. I'm going to hold it in there, let that ink sink in really good. And looky there how you already have the 2 tones with the one stamp. I think that's really pretty too. Then with the soft suede, I'm going to bring in this stamp here that kind of looks like the twigs. And I'm going to stamp that right on top. I might get my head in the camera because I want it to get pretty, I don't know. I'm going to go right there and see how that works out. Yep, look how pretty that is. Now, as the ink dries, it's going to settle in and it's going to look even better. So while I have my stamps here and my ink, I'm going to go ahead and mount, I'm going to call them those little sprigs right here onto a block. And we're going to stamp those in that mossy meadow. Let's do one here. And one there. Okay, and then last, let me get out that Merry Christmas. We'll throw that on the block here. And we're going to stamp that in that real red just over here to the side. And I'm going to try to get my Merry Christmas lined up at the bottom because we're just going to fussy cut this out, and it'd be nice to have that already lined up at the bottom of my paper. Let's see how I did. Yep, that looks pretty good. Okay, I think, no, let's do some stamping on the inside of our card while we're at it. Okay, so for a greeting on my stamp set, I'm going to go ahead and bring in this Christmas to Remember. I think this might be my favorite greeting stamp set. This is in the annual catalog, but may this Christmas be, may this be a Christmas to remember and cherish. I'm going to stamp that on the inside of my card. Now to bring some of those other colors into my card, I'm going to stamp this in red again, especially because I like to keep my greetings all the same color. I don't know if that's just a Kathy thing, but that's what I like to do. So I'm going to stamp this here on the inside, let that ink sink in. Now this stamp set is in the annual catalog. It's a red rubber stamp set, so I don't need my pad underneath there. But then to bring in some more of those colors, I'm going to bring that pad back in since we're doing with photopolymer, and I'm going to stamp some of these pretty leaves in that mossy meadow again. And just kind of place them around my greeting. And look how pretty that makes the inside of your card look. Just like that. Okay, now one more thing we need to do with ink is I'm going to bring in that crumb cake. And my crumb cake dauber. Now I like to keep my daubers in a case like this. I don't even know where my case came from. I got it from a friend of mine, Mary McCannon. But I like to take a dauber. They come in little packs of 5 like this. And I take my little label maker. Whoop, let go, dauber. There we go. And I like to put the color on there. And then I use the same dauber over and over again. Now, when we went from sponges, or Stampin' Up went from sponges to daubers, I started my new collection. You can take these and wash them, but I like to just keep my daubers like that. It doesn't, you know, you get a lot of daubers for a little dollars. Might as well just hang on and have a dauber like this in every color. Okay, so then on those front door panels, I'm going to take my dauber here and just put a little bit of color on the edges. I'm going to try to keep it as light as I can. And it might not look like there's any color on there, but when you set it onto that white, look how you get lots of color on there. And that's, oops, I got a little strong there, but that's exactly what I want. It's just a little bit of color on the edges so you can see the white on white. Quickly do the rest of these here. And this I would say is more like just a shadow because they should look like they have the beveled edges, and we just want that little slight shadow on our panels here. Okay, let's go ahead and put these onto our door front. This, whoops, here's our door front. I almost put on the wrong thing. I'm going to just lay them here in for positioning. Now, trust me, they don't have to be perfect. Once you put that wreath on your door, you're not going to see that your panels are going to be perfect. Unless you're a perfectionist, then you could get, and look here, this panel is totally cut the wrong size. Hang on, I got to cut a new panel. Phew, thank goodness I caught that. Bring that scrap back in. I'm going to cut it at 1 inch. So I'll tell you every time what not to do, and then we're going to cut this at 2 1/8. So now we have a panel the right size. Let's get rid of that one. Try again. I think there's probably enough ink on my dauber. Yeah, there is. I can just get that edge. Let's see if this is the right size now. I wonder if you guys saw me cutting paper and you tried to warn me. There we go. Now they're the right size. Now I have to make sure I leave room here for the doorknob. So I'm going to scoot them over just a little bit. So they're about there. And then do some Stampin' Seal. I'm going to start with this corner down here. A little bit of tape on there. And I'm going to just line them up as best I can. They probably won't be perfect, like I said, but it's going to look cute either way. There. This one. Let's see about. And I'm trying to get them straight this way too, which close enough. So far so good, right? Whoop. That is not good. I got a big old black cat hair. I'm going to have to get rid of a cat or ask him to quit shedding. Neither one is going to happen. Okay, there we go. So now we have like our front door panel, and this one still, to me, well, nope, he's going to have to just be fine because he's stuck down pretty good there. Okay, then let's go ahead and put our designer series paper onto the front of the door. Now I'm going to use liquid glue because it's such a fine border that I think it's easier. I'm going to need to spread or to move my door around, and the liquid glue will give me a chance. Well, if he'll come out, there we go. And that way I can slide him into place with that really thin border. Well, it might be time to get a new liquid glue. Okay, good enough. Let's make it happen. We're going to lay that, and that way I can slide it down with that itty bitty border. There we go, and looky there. And let's go ahead and just add our front door on here. Looks pretty good so far, right? And believe it or not, look, I think it already looks like a front door. But when we add those other pieces, it'll look a lot better. Okay, let's do some die cutting. We have all those pieces stamped and ready to go. Let me try to move everything out of the way. I am going to bring in some of this pretty, what is this called? It's red and white glimmer paper. It is glimmer paper. Look how pretty this is in a little 6x6. Looks like that. We're going to use this and just cut that bow from the die set. So we'll need this to cut. I couldn't find my stamping. Here we go. We'll need this to cut that. And then the nice thing about this die set is it has two of these little pieces. Here's the other one. And we can cut those out both at the same time. I am going to use a little bit of washi tape and hold those into place. You just move it around here. Of course, that's going to take me forever because I'm on camera trying to hurry to find out which way. There it goes. I usually use like a bumpy leaf like this, and I know that this stamp set has markings where you can have it, the die and the stamp set figured or lined up, but I just haven't taken the time to figure out how to use it. Okay, so here we're going to take some washi tape and just hold those all in place. Make sure I get it lined up right. There we go. And a couple, well, I think I'm going to just do one big piece on those two little sprig dies. That looks pretty good. Those, okay. And then the other die we need is that really pretty bow that looks like this. And we're going to cut that out with this glimmer paper. Let's bring in our machine, get everything else out of the way. Except when I get stuff out of the way, that's when I can't find it anymore. Hopefully it'll happen. Okay, I'm going to turn my base plate. So I have platform number 1. I'm going to use adapter plate number 2. I'm going to lay my plate number 3, my cutting plate that's pretty chewed up. I'm going to lay my paper on there with my dies and that pretty glimmer paper with my little bow die here. Let me turn this around. Looks like that. And then the clear cutting plate on top. And we'll just cut all of those pieces out. There we go. Now we have all these pieces, and you can see here when I cut my bow the first time, I just took this little edge and cut a little piece, and I have a little bit left over from my first. Now I guess this is probably like about of 1/8 of an inch, and I don't know how long it is. We're going to cut that down to size, but that's what we're going to use for our hanger of our wreath. So that's what I've done here too. So there's our really pretty bow. We have all of our little sprigs here. Oh, nope, they're still stuck in there. There we go. Set all that aside. Now we have all of our little pieces. Oh, you know what we do need to do though, is we need to fussy cut that little Merry Christmas right here. So I'm going to just cut straight this way. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And you can just cut straight across. And there we go, we have our little Merry Christmas there too, which I think turned out pretty good. Okay, we have all of our little pieces. All we need to do now is add them to our card. And I'm going to start with the wreath. Now, I'll be honest, on this card, I think my wreath is too high. It needs to come down just a little bit. So when I put, oh no, you know what we need to do? We need to stamp our berries on our wreath. I almost forgot, and boy, we want to do that when it's flat. So let me grab our little berries here, put them on a stamp, or on a block. Grab that real red ink. I'm going to put him on my pierce mat here, so he has some padding. And I'm going to just randomly stamp those little berries there. Now, if you wanted to make your berries stand out a little more, although I'm going to keep mine the way they are, we have several embellishments that you could use to make those berries really pop. You could use the red rhinestones. These would look perfect on the berries. They're just the right size. We also have these new, and here their package says that they're red and green adhesive back pearls, but in the catalog they're actually called the festive, where are they? Right here, yeah, they're called the festive pearls, just to not cause any confusion. That's what you could also use those. I think those would look really pretty, these red ones up here on your wreath. The last thing, and something that would be easy to use, you could use these pearl effects on your wreath. Just take a little glob of this and let it dry on there. I think that would look really cute too. Now I think that with my bow being the shimmer, I'm happy with that just being plain stamped, so I'm going to leave them as is. Okay, let's get those dimensionals. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my wreath here. And like I said, this time I'm going to compare my first card. I want it to be a little bit lower, so I'm going to take my wreath and place it down here so it's just a little bit lower, like toward the middle of my door, not quite so high. Like that. Let's go ahead and put our doorknob on. Now, just like the ingredients said, we're going to use the adhesive back sequins, and I'm going to find some gold ones here. Here we go. And this largest gold, I'm going to just put as our doorknob. I think that looks good. Look how cute that doorknob is. I thought that was a brilliant idea. Okay, now we need to add on our bow. I'm going to just take a glue dot on the back of our bow in the center here where the knot would be. And then I'm going to add that little strip of red to the back. And that's going to be like our hanger for the door. And then with one more glue dot, I'm going to attach that to the front of our card. There we go. And just set that right there. And try at the top of our wreath, and look how cute that is. Now we need to trim this down just a little bit. I want it the same length as our door, and then with just a little spot of liquid glue at the top there, I'm going to hold that down. Maybe, yep, there we go. So now it's all lined up and held to our door, and just doesn't flop, so the card's nice and solid. So far so good. Really cute card, don't you think? Okay, let's go ahead and put our greeting on there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hold, and I'm going to find some mini dimensionals. You could also just take a regular dimensional and cut it in half, but I'm going to put, I'm going to hold it on with my finger. I'm going to set this, there's two sizes, the larger, and you know what, now that I look at it, nope, I'm going to put some tape on the back of this to hold it in place until I'm ready for my dimensional. I'll put my dimensional down. So I'm going to put the larger on the top and a small one up here, just a little sprig, and then do the same thing. All right, a little bit more tape. That's what happens when you're all thumbs with little pieces of paper. And then we're going to do the same thing at the bottom. Got the large one here. Yep, that looks pretty good. And the little small one here. Yep, and then I'll put some dimensionals on the back of that. And now I'm going to just use regular dimensionals. I thought the mini dimensionals would work better, but I think I'm going to go with just the standard. Right there. Pop those backs off. And then place that right here on the edge of our wreath. So it looks good right there. And there you go. So what do you think? Isn't that cute? I'm so thankful that Stampin' Up! Gives us demonstrators the recipes for the cards in the catalog. So make sure if you have any questions about what they use to make the cards, because the catalogs are great idea books. You get lots and tons of ideas just by the cards that they've offered to show the product. So if you ever have any questions or need anything, if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Like I said, all my information is on my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. If you're here on Facebook, I would love for you to like my page, make a comment. If you're on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe, click that bell, and make a comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.